Hello everyone, my name is Matt Scorpion and welcome to the guide on Wicked Implement, a new Stasis Scout rifle freshly introduced this season and this week with the final exotic fish being released. Which as a precursor to this quest, make sure you go and collect each of the 3 exotic fish in the EDZ, Throne World, and Nessus that is required to continue forward. Now, after banking all 3 of those said fish, you'll get pieces of the Broken Blaze, which you'll offer at 3 hive totems throughout a deep dive, the first of which being right here at the start of deep dives. The second one will be right after the first encounter. Now, may I preface this as well, you do not need to activate any of the pressure time trials, you don't need to do anything special to access anything, you just need to make sure to interact with these 3 totems. Only one member of your fire team needs to actually interact with them, and you can do it infinite amount of times. You don't have to worry about it being one and done and having to go find a new fish. It's just basically you collect the 3 and then you can interact with them endlessly. Now, right after the second totem as well, the third one is just ahead through the fan and around a corner on the left before a big drop, which that will be the last one you need to access the next section of the mission. Like I said, before the big drop, hold the left and you will find the third totem. Now, once it says offering accepted, you will continue and complete the second encounter as usual. Like I said, no time trials, nothing you need to do. Don't even worry about picking up the next buff because those get wiped out going through this section. So you see the door to continue, you will hang a right and go through the door you used to complete the final mission of the season or the last story mission. This goes the same way to an extent. And once you head to the door, I advise you keep from caution. You must activate the next 3 totems in this room, and when you're progressing through the methane, make sure to watch for fallen web mines. They can slow you a lot, and it's very close to getting through. Once you progress far enough, you will find a drop down that will lead to Null the Executioner Knight, which is a basic tutorial on the mechanic for this mission. Now, when you shoot him, he will not be damageable at all. You will do next to no damage. Now, what you need to do is find the variety of taken Minotaurs about. Once you kill them, you will get a Deathly Sharp buff. Once you get it up to 3 times, you will gain a buff that allows you to actually do normal damage to them. Now, aside from that, it is essentially just a time trial whispered style once the door opens to the right of where you drop down, and you will be in a pyramid-like maze. Now, continuing forward, there's going to be a little bit of excess. You'll see a pyramid crystal right here in the front pedestal, and there is one more that will be under the staircase to the next room by the barricade. Aside from that, you're just clearing out the ads and then opening the door. Once in this big room, you have to find more of the pyramid tech crystals that you have to open the left and right corridors that have the knights you need to, or the minotaurs you need to kill hidden inside of them. And then once you do, this will nullify the damage resistance on the boss and will make him vulnerable. Now keep in mind there's no sort of damage checks. This is kind of a intro to the theme of this mission, so it won't be that difficult. And don't worry about holding back on ammo. There's going to be a rally flag just past this room right up before the big fight. Now, in terms of weaponry, I would recommend a machine gun in the heavy slot, just because, unfortunately, slight little spoiler alert here, you'll see in a moment though, the final boss is a Tormentor, so I would recommend a variety of damage buffs and damage debuffs. My team composition was for the completion, let me say, a Tether Hunter, that was myself, a Strand Titan, and a Well of Radiance Warlock. We all pretty much spec'd out for machine guns, because once we saw Tormentor, we went straight machine guns. Now, the final boss is going to be a little bit tricky, because it has the same mechanic of the sharp edge and the no damage being dealt when you don't have the sharp edge. Although there is a very big maze you have to wander through. Now, there is going to be 4 points in the maze, generally. There's going to be 4 rooms that they spawn at least the first time. But then after that, it could be a bit random. And in case you don't find the Minotaurs you need to defeat, after a while, they do get damage markers so you can find them if required. But essentially, the damage cycle for this is going out, finding the 3 Minotaurs, killing all 3 of them, and then doing damage to the boss. And he is quite tanky, like I said. Machine guns, a tether, a well, a very good damage setup is required, and I also would recommend getting a full fire team for this as well. In addition to that, you still have the timer, so I would recommend not lollygagging. You split up, find the knights, or go split up and find the minotaurs on your own. It does seem to be at a light deficit, so if you are not strong enough to handle most of these on your own, I would also say take somebody with you. Aside from that, split up, take out all 3 of the knights, and get the Deathly Sharp buff up to ×3. And be warned as well, this is very much like the Duality Bell thing, where if you die, you lose the Deathly Sharp buff and you do not regain it when you res. So during this damage phase, make sure that everyone is alive before killing the last Minotaur and then committing to damage. If you do not have the damage buff, aside from being a decoy and just kind of keeping the Tormentor busy, I would recommend that you just go back into the maze and wait for the Minotaurs to respawn. I wouldn't go straight for the rooms just because they can start to be random after the first phase, so I would recommend just roaming about until your teammate or whoever's left says Deathly Sharp is gone and the Minotaurs will have respawned by then. Now, aside from that, there is nothing much more here that I can really show you. It's definitely a getting used to because it's scrolling about, going after Minotaurs, avoiding the Tormentor who is chasing you down the entire time. But as soon as the 3rd Minotaur falls, the Tormentor is damageable and he will return to the center of the maze to which you can deal damage. Now, it's not really going to be shown in here exactly, but my teammate, he put a well on top of one of the pedestals, which allowed us to get buffed by the Well of Radiance while standing underneath, and the Tormentor, while being focused on him, was very stuck, and it didn't exactly spam attack like usual, so you can kind of kite him in a weird way. But aside from that, this is really just hammering down the damage, making sure you're very quick. As soon as damage phase ends, you're promptly going after the more Minotaurs to restart again. I wouldn't say go about and try to restart your super. I'd say just get as many phases in as possible. Save the super for the next phase. I think my team did this in about 3 runs. But as long as you have at least 7 minutes, I'd say the average team that might not be the best, but is at least competent, could get through this. And just for context, this is what it looked like when me and my team defeated him on the final phase. And I will show you the little extras that come after finishing this fight. Now be wary, the mission indicator will take you back the way you came. Ignore that and actually head the opposite direction where the dot just showed, and it will take you to a statue to commune with Xivu Arath. Once commune, you have the scout rifle, which in practice, think of it like Stasis Slow and Shards the weapon. It does have a catalyst that does a few extra things to it, but I forget what that is, and I'm not exactly sure how to gain access to it. But upon that point, there are some handy perks to it. Aside from that, it's basically just shoot things many times in precision shots, and it will slow them all the way to freezing. And when you shoot things with a precision hit, when frozen, it will also generate a stasis shard that when you collect will actually refill your magazine. It's a 180 frame vertical scout rifle. It is very pretty nifty, and of course because it slows naturally, it means it is anti-overload already off the bat. And of course, if it shatters, then it also means it is unstoppable. So it is already looking like a pretty solid weapon, and that is before it even gets its catalyst. Now, throughout the rest of the arena as well, you will find some of the darkness crystals like you find on Neomuna that are very similar in design. Basically, it is a set of collectibles. You'll find the first one above that you can shoot and break. I do not know if you need Wicked Implement to break them, but I had it just in case. There is one above the crystal you commune with and 6 more throughout the arena in various places, but they are pretty easy to find, and you have 1700 seconds total, so it's pretty easy to go out and find the rest. They are pretty handy XP, but it is not related to the catalyst, at least not immediately. With that, my name is Matt Scorpion, and I will see you in the next one.